The United Mexican States has prided itself on being a leader of neutrality. However, right now, it is the most dangerous position to be in. The current leader Mateo is popular among the voters, and his right-hand man Ordaz has his complete trust. However, in the current position of the Aleutian crisis, that relationship will be tested. Mexico has been enforced as one of the only neutral nations to mediate a disagreement between the United States and Japan, but this one was bad. The Japanese claimed America had violated the demilitarization of the Aleutian Islands, but America denies this, refusing to apologize for any wrongdoings and capturing the Japanese spy plane pilot who reported on the violation for violating airspace. This is a disaster. It's 3:27 AM and Ordaz is wide awake, trying his best to manage the crisis while Mateo is unreachable, but all of his notes say the same thing. President Lopez is dragging the US and Japan into a nuclear oblivion. He had to come up with a solution fast, and without access to the president, he was on his own. At 3:40 AM, he came up with what he believed was a truly neutral proposition, an apology from Japan, and the release of the Japanese pilot captured by the US and the withdrawal of both fleets from the Pacific. And with that, he was headed to the embassy. But when Mateos landed and heard of Ordaz's proposition, he was furious at how pro-American this stance was. But it was too late to stop it. Soon enough, they were back in the same room. The furious voice of our president, usually so amiable, pierced the air. Explain to me, carefully, under which authority you waited uninvited to the most delicate diplomatic situation of our lifetimes. Ordaz's own wary voice came soon after. I had received credible intelligence of an imminent nuclear exchange. As you were in flight and unavailable, I acted to prevent war. Prevent a war? Let me be frank, Gustavo, you nearly caused World War III. Your so-called terms were completely unacceptable to Tokyo and let the Americans get away with whatever the hell you were doing in the North Pacific. What's more, your credible intelligence came from LIT or something, sources and FBI agents. Every secretary's ears perked up as the president delivered his final verdict. You are lucky to still have a job, secretary. Get out. I've had people locked in prison for less. Get the hell out. The crisis had been resolved, but at what cost? Mexico's neutrality, with the Japanese skeptical of it, and the US on their back door. How will the president navigate out of this seemingly impossible scenario? Having to appease both the Americans and the Japanese, there was no option but to fire Ordaz. And the new man in charge was Salinas, a more Japanese-lenient diplomat that may just be able to fix relations with Japan while also placating the Americans. Ordaz had to go. He was obviously too pro-American for his job, and so Salinas was in. His first proposition was to integrate Japanese culture into Mexican society, learning Japanese in schools and importing Japanese goods, so Salinas made it his mission to achieve these objectives. However, no one foresaw what was about to come. After spending months aligning economically with the Japanese, the worst thing imaginable happened, the Yasuda crisis. That's actually so bad for us. Why has that been cancelled, Rev? Oh. The economic collapse took Japan by storm, and with it, Mexico too. The party that had been so popular with the people was starting to lose its grip, and radical elements were beginning to take hold. Both Ordaz and Salinas had failed the president, and now he had to walk a fine line himself during the final year of his presidency. Hey guys, I know this video was a bit different, but I had to improvise because the gameplay for this country was extremely boring. The story was okay, but the gameplay was very boring. So I had to improvise. I couldn't do my normal videos where I just show gameplay because I wasn't invading anyone and there was literally no wars, alright? It was just, that was the story. But what I do have is a bunch of footage of me yelling at my computer about how many events there are. And then for like the last 2 years of gameplay, I wanted to see how many events I could get on screen at a time because they automatically go away after a while. So I was like, oh, what's the most amount we can get? Because I was so fed up with all the events I'm reading at this point. Like, I had spent for 3 months of in-game took an hour for recording because I was reading all the events. It was so ridiculous. Look at this shit. It's literally the 7 AM 1st of January. What the fuck? Look at this shit. I've had, how many events am I getting in a row? Like, every single day. What is this shit? What the f***? It's been a week. Oh my god. What are the devs doing, man? What are they doing? I want to see how many I can get up on the page. 5? Okay, 5. So far 5's the record. And we beat 5. Can we beat 5? It may just happen. Yeah, I don't care about this playthrough. This playthrough's kind of just turned into a joke at this point. I'm more focused on how many events can we get on the page at once. So it seems like the maximum we're getting is around 5. There has been 0 times where there have been no events on the page. There's always been at least 1. But then this happened. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5. We just need 1 more for a record. Since 6. We have 6 events on the page, guys. Let's go. Can we hit 7? Is that 7? We might have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 events on the page. If they stay, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 events. The funny thing is that none of these events are 1 or 2 paragraphs. They're all like 5 or 4 paragraphs or even longer. Like, who's actually reading this? Is this even necessary to read? And the problem was that I didn't know which events were actually important to read because there were so many events that weren't. This is something that really needs to be sorted out because I really like to read the story, but if there's so many events popping up that are just not rewarding and then don't give me anything on the story, and then there are a few dotted in there that are good, how am I supposed to know which ones those are? Anyway, that is the end of this video. Do not play Mexico. I don't recommend it. I'll see you guys next time, okay? It'll be actual proper video, I promise, alright? We're gonna play Red Dusk. That mod hasn't let me down yet.